What is going on, everybody? I am back today, and if you saw the title of the video, just being funny, today is actually my birthday, and I wanted to do something for my birthday, like a fun video surrounding my birthday, and I feel old, and I know a lot of you out there are probably like, you're not that old, but I turned 33 this year, so I've been around for a while, and you never really predict what direction your life is going to go by any means, and the types of things that you'll be doing at any specific point in your life. And what I will say, for those of you out there who've been watching me for a while, I've gotten relatively personal on here about family things in my life that I've gone through, and gone into some pretty intense detail with that. And what I will say, I've struggled with mental health issues my entire life. I've really dealt with depression, self-worth issues, and it's something I'm consistently working on. But one of the things I wanted to come on here and say, and being my birthday gives me an excuse to do something a little out of the realm of normal, is to just come on here and say thank you, because this community on YouTube and on TikTok that I've been building up, and a lot of regulars out there who comment on all my videos and have discussions with me, it means more than you can even imagine, because I really cling to my passions very heavily in my life. I love movies, I love music, and I love literature. I love all forms of art, and discussing those topics and engaging in those topics are my favorite things in the world. And having this community on here of such respectful and wonderful people who I see the same commenters over and over again, and you know who you are. You guys always make my day whenever I get the chance to respond to your very thoughtful comments, because it's never just one or two sentences. You guys always give really thoughtful and engaging comments about movies, and I'm so appreciative of that. And I really just wanted to take the time today to kind of set aside and say thank you for being here. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's October, and I have posted a video every day for the past year and a little beyond, and I'm gonna make it to 365 this year, barring that life continues to go the way that it's going. And what's been great is how many of you consistently come back and watch each and every video, provide thoughtful comments. Hopefully I'm adding some movies in that you've never watched before, and that's the whole thing that I wanted to take away from doing YouTube and from doing TikTok is engaging in relationships and meeting people, discussing those topics, and it's just been wonderful for me. So I really just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And today, as a fun little addition to this video, I thought that it would be fun to talk about some of my favorite horror movies. And originally, I was going to do a horror movie for every year since I've been born, but that would have been 33 movies. You would have had to listen to me talk for quite some time. So, because my birthday is October 10th, 10/10, 10 is a big number here, I figured I would do my favorite horror films of the past 10 years. So I'm going to go from 2023 to 2014 and tell you guys my favorite horror films of each year since then, and I'm looking forward to getting into it now. So first up from this year, 2023, it's going to be Talk to Me. Obviously the year is not over yet, but Talk to Me absolutely blew my mind. I thought the performances were fantastic. I thought the way the directors were able to build atmosphere and ambiance was fantastic. The tension in the film was so palpable, and it wasn't a horror film that was solely reliant on jump scares. There was so much about what you as the viewer were forced to look at. I love the story and the lore build up about this hand. I love how we get information about it, but not necessarily everything is revealed. And I think having those questions in the back of your head really create an interesting and engaging horror movie that I'm really looking forward to revisiting sometime in the near future. In 2022, my favorite horror movie is going to be Jordan Peele's Nope. And I know there's been people that have tried to argue that this isn't a horror movie. I would disagree. There are some sequences in this that truly terrified me to my core. And I think this, and I've said this before, I feel like this is Jordan Peele's Steven Spielberg moment. So much about this movie was in character building. There's great comedic beats in this movie. I think there's everything that makes Jordan Peele such a fantastic fantastic director shows up in this work, and it's so well directed. The cinematography is fantastic. The way they were able to pull off Day for Night, because Day for Night really looks bad, which for those of you out there who don't know, Day for Night is when you shoot nighttime scenes during the day, and there's some moments that you can tell that it was done that way, but I think it's covered up so well in this movie, and I was really impressed what Peele was able to pull off. It's a phenomenal film. If you haven't seen it, you're really missing out. For 2021, that's going to be James Wan's Malignant, probably the most controversial horror film that came out that year. I absolutely loved it because James Wan drew in an audience thinking they were going to get one of his typical films, and he delivered the exact opposite, an homage to the schlocky, goofy movies of the 70s and 80s with a little bit of giallo influence thrown in there. It's so much fun. It never takes itself seriously. The dialogue is campy and over the top. Every time I revisit this movie, I love it more and more. It's just an absolute blast from start to finish. If you've never seen it, you're really missing out. For 2020, I couldn't narrow it down to one movie, so I picked two. The first one is going to be Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor. I talk about this movie a ton. This leans more sci-fi than horror, but it does get into the body horror territory. One of the most fascinating plot arcs of any movie that I've ever watched. It's got great visual effects, great practical effects. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. Probably one of the most violent horror films I've seen in quite some time. It's just really well executed. Brandon continues to cement himself as one of my favorite filmmakers. I loved Infinity Pool this year. It was amazing. A little less on the horror side than Possessor is, but it's just a phenomenal film. If you've never seen it, check it out. And my other film from 2020 is Psycho Goreman. If you have not heard me beat this movie to death by now, I love this movie more than anything. It is one of the most funny, charming, hilarious films made in the past decade. Love all the performances in this. It's a film I could watch every single day for the entire year and never get tired of it. The passion and the practical effects and just everything that Steven Kostanski has done with this movie is just bar none some of the best horror filmmaking I've ever seen. Go watch it if you've never seen it. 2019 is going to be another split year. First up, it's The Lighthouse from Robert Eggers. I have a tattoo on my arm I've shown multiple times on here. If you can see it, I don't know how to flip my arm for the camera, but The Lighthouse has two of my favorite performances of all time from Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. The tension, anxiety, and suspense that this movie builds is unlike anything I've ever seen. The cinematography is very reminiscent of a lot of Bergman films, and the way that it really creates claustrophobia and tension. The close-ups on the characters are brilliant. The score in this movie is absolutely phenomenal. It's just truly one of the greatest horror psychological thriller films ever made. If you've never watched it and you're going to watch my YouTube channel, you need to watch The Lighthouse at some point. And then split with that, if you couldn't guess, Ari Aster's Midamar, one of my favorite horror films that takes place entirely during the day. It's obviously a cult horror film that kind of pulls from films like The Wicker Man, but does its very own unique thing. The visuals in this are phenomenal. Florence Pugh's performance is absolutely outstanding. It's a movie I could not stop thinking about the moment I left the movie theater, and it's a movie I still to this day cannot stop thinking about. It's absolutely brilliant in every sense of the word. Please watch Midsommar if you've never seen it. 2018 is another split year. Two amazing horror movies came out in 2018. First up is going to be the Luca Guadagnino Suspiria remake, a film I've also beaten to death talking about, a film that I like more than the original Suspiria. I think it has great character building, an amazing score from Tom York, so many twists and turns that are absolutely unpredictable. Just bar none, one of the best films of the past 10 to 15 years. I can't believe this movie bombed in the box office. It's so fantastic. The passion in every frame is just there. It's a movie I recommend to virtually everyone. Split with 2018, we have Ari Aster's Hereditary, a film that holds its place as one of the greatest modern horror films, and for very good reason. The cinematography, atmosphere, and suspense in this film, absolutely incredible. Starts out as a familial drama, builds into this wild, super supernatural tale with a phenomenal performance from Toni Collette. Truly, you can feel the familial tension throughout every single frame. This just proved what an incredible director Ari Aster was from the beginning of his career. And this is a movie I also think about nonstop. I constantly want to revisit, and I can't wait for my A24 archive series to get to this movie so that I can watch it again. For 2017, we have Jordan Peele's Get Out, a cultural phenomenon that deserves to hold its spot as one of the most important horror movies ever made. Not only in the sense that the director is an African-American male, that the lead is an African-American male, and what it talks about when it comes to the culture and it comes to the Black experience. But aside from all of those really important issues that the film highlights, it's just a great horror movie. It builds up really amazing tension. It has great visuals. The sound design and the score are fantastic. You can strip away all the political stuff and it's still a phenomenal horror film, but adding on the political elements and the cultural elements and the social elements that exist in this film just make it all the more impactful. It's a brilliant piece of cinema, cemented Jordan Peele as the genius that he is, continues to grow as a filmmaker in his career. Can't wait to see what he does next. 2016 was another split year for me. First up is going to be the film Train to Busan. I consistently talk about how much I love Korean cinema, and Train to Busan is no exception. One of the greatest zombie films ever made. The character dynamics in this are what make it so interesting. The zombies' design are horrifying. I love how most of it takes place on this train, really creates that claustrophobic atmosphere that makes you as a viewer really uncomfortable being trapped with these things that will literally turn you if they bite you. Zombie films are films that have been done again and again and again, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are getting tired of zombie films, but this is the type of film that really kind of revitalizes and makes me excited about zombie movies. It's just a fantastic film that if you haven't seen, you need to watch. And then paralleled in that year is going to be the Julia Ducournau film Raw, a coming-of-age cannibal movie that is very different in tone than Train to Busan. It is very dark and bleak and dramatic. It has amazing cinematography, phenomenal performances. It's just uncomfortable from start to finish, and it packs a truly incredible punch in the third act, a movie I have not stopped thinking about since I watched it the first time. And if you've never seen Raw, cannibal movies make me more uncomfortable than anything, and so this movie landed on the list for that very reason. 2015 is going to be Robert Eggers' The Witch, another film that I have tattooed on here. I love Robert Eggers' films. I think The Witch cemented Robert Eggers as the genius that he is. I think his attention to detail and period accuracy, and not only the clothing and the dialogue, but the atmosphere that he's able to convey. There's not a jump scare in this movie. There's not moments where things are coming around every corner. It's about a looming threat that you can't see, but that you can feel, and this family tearing itself apart. It's one of the best horror movies I've ever seen. It's a movie I think about nonstop. It's what made me fall in love with Eggers as a filmmaker, and I always look forward to revisiting this movie whenever I get the chance. And then for the last year, 2014, I had to do a split on this one. First up is going to be the Patrick Brice directed, Mark Duplass starring film Creep. This is one of my favorite found footage horror films. It is absolutely incredible what these two characters in this one location are able to pull off as far as tension, psychological manipulation between the characters. It's able to shift in tonality between really comedic to really serious and dramatic to really suspenseful and horrific. It's just so incredible and shows you that even with a limited budget, limited actors, and a limited crew, what you are able to accomplish in such a small space. It's a movie I've rewatched like 6 or 7 times, and every time I get something new out of it. If you've never seen Creep or Creep 2, you definitely need to check both of them out. They're both fantastic. And then in the same year, David Robert Mitchell's It Follows. I feel like this is right in the realm of those really important cultural shift horror movies. This set the tone for a lot of indie horror films to come. Very different in its approach. It's truly horrific and scary. One of the things I love about this movie is the time period ambiguity that exists in it. It's just really different and really strange, and it's also truly horrifying. Love the disaster piece score in this movie. It just elevates the film to everything that it is. It's truly a wonderful work of art if you've never seen It Follows, go check it out. So those are my favorite horror films of the past 10 years. What are your favorite horror films of the past 10 years? Let me know in the comments. I would absolutely love to read those. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. As I said at the beginning of the video, I really appreciate each and every one of you who take the time to watch my videos and sit here and listen to me talk. It means the world to me to be able to share my passions with you, and with it being my birthday, it just got me excited for another year of doing this and another year of sharing in film with you all and talking about film, and I can't wait for many, many more. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.